Hi, this is Joe from PrepAgent. I'm here with my friend Kari Dunn, who passed her exam 4 months ago-ish. What did you say, 3.5 months ago, Kari?
It was July 11th. I remember the date exactly.
July 11th, a very
Yes.
celebratory day.
Yes.
So you are interesting because you've been practicing now. If I do my math correctly, it is mid-November now. So that makes us
Right.
4 months in, 5 months in,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and you're already
Yes.
doing business.
I am. I am about to close on my first escrow next week.
Cool. So I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about that, about what you did to get started, what you did to get your business off the ground, because there's a lot of people who lecture who are very
Mhm.
successful real estate agents, but they honestly don't remember what it's like when you first start. I mean, they're talking about these big business things about listings and property and advertising, but you could speak to somebody who is in the webinars with everybody else, and now you're doing business in a
Right.
very competitive market, I might add.
Yeah, in a very competitive market with not a lot of startup money, which I think is the case with a lot of new agents, trying to get business on a really low budget is a very challenging thing. I think lead generation for different kinds of lead generation works for different people. You had Luna on your webinar before. She was very successful with cold calling, I remember her saying. For me, right after I joined my brokerage, I started doing open houses a lot. And from those open houses, I have my escrow closing this week, and then I have other buyers that I'm working with that I've met through different open houses. So for me, it's a very inexpensive way to find clients and a very successful way so far. So that's kind of what I'm going with.
It's also not that difficult either, because you basically go to the open house once you make that relationship. And
Right.
if there's not a lot of people coming to the open house, you could kind of do your thing, play on the computer, study different things, learn different concepts, work on your social media, do whatever. And if people come, you say hello and
Right.
you just be friendly. So there's really no reason
Right.
for people not to do it, I guess is what I'm
That
saying.
it, yeah, that's true, and it's a very organic way to meet people as well. You're building a rapport with them right away, face to face, which is nice. Something that you don't get from different other types of lead generation, like cold calling, which is definitely not my favorite. But yeah, it's been. I work with agents who all they do are open houses, and they are very successful. So that's kind of the route that I've decided to take with that.
That's actually how I got started too.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
when I got started, everybody knows me for social media because I have this
Right.
YouTube channel, the Facebook, Instagram. But when I got started, that wasn't really a thing. I mean, this was
Okay.
15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And I remember I fought hard to get open houses because it was easier for me than doing cold calling. Cold calling was like
Hmm.
not very natural to me. And I got to
Right.
sit at those open houses and be friendly with people. And if people weren't showing up, fine. I sat there and I just, I
Lots of
studied different.
selfies.
Yeah, well, this was before selfies too. I mean,
Yeah.
no, what I did is I studied contracts. I brushed up on different things I wanted to learn about, brushed up on real estate books. It was my time to kind of sit there and study and educate myself because I always
Right.
planned that eventually I'm going to have a deal and I want to be ready when it comes.
Yes. Yeah.
But
So because I don't have a sales background either, and so I'm not, it's definitely harder for me to just call somebody and try to sell them over the phone. So yeah, that's definitely been um, the most beneficial for my
and lo and
business so
behold,
far.
business did walk in for me. It sounds like it did for you too.
Yes, yeah. So that's been really great because I watched a lot of Tom Ferry before I took my test. And obviously your main goal is to set that appointment with your potential client. But the way you get there is completely up to you. That's one thing my coach has drilled into me. She's like, this is your business. You need to run it how you want to run it. And I'm personally, I do well meeting people in a more organic, setting. So.
And I think that's really good advice for people to get started because a lot
Mhm.
of people think of this as a sales job, which it is. And they think
Right.
like a car salesman, you know, cold
Mhm.
calling, door knocking, which is petrifying. right?
It is, yes.
But there are other ways, especially in this modern era, between what you could do. Social media is way more than we could do before, but
Right.
also like we were talking about open houses and networking functions. There's
Yes.
a lot more networking functions than people realize. And this is fun. You could enjoy doing it. It doesn't have to feel like work.
Right. And get out there and, you can volunteer, get involved with other things that you are interested in, and then you'll meet people that way as well. And that's, then you're being yourself. They're seeing who you are, and they're naturally going to want to work with you because they like you.
That is
And that's
true.
what a lot of sales is, if somebody will do business with you just because they like you.
So basically, the gist of it is to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I think about it, there's different types of networking functions you could do. And
Right.
they kind of function between the time of day and time of week. The volunteer stuff is typically on the weekends for a lot of
Correct.
people. Now, there are obviously volunteer stuff other times of day, but typically
Right.
community ones, they're on the weekends. In the morning from 6 a.m. to 8, especially in
Mm-hmm.
major cities like San Diego, there's a lot of networking organizations, and you can look them up where they
Right.
do lead exchanges. Well, you meet the
Okay.
dentist and the accountant, and people talk about different ideas. You can even meet other real estate agents and exchange ideas. Then the
Right.
evening, they tend to have those more relaxed mixers,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
which people go to, but usually the heavy lecture stuff is in the morning. And one
Right.
thing I also want to emphasize, you're bringing up that made me think of this, is you don't want to be afraid of meeting your competition.
Right. Yes. Get out there, go on the caravans, meet other agents, because that's who you're going to be working with. The other agent, the agent on the other side of my transaction right now, she's been in the business for 36 years. And so for me, it being my first transaction, she has been a huge help. And building those relationships. Yes, you're going to be working with these agents. It might seem, there's thousands of agents, but you're probably going to be working with quite a few of them.
Exactly. And you
Yeah.
want to learn with them. You can't think of it as competition because there's so many people. If you think that way, you'll be paralyzed.
Right.
Instead, you just think of it like you're learning with everybody. You guys are all doing the same thing. Think of it
Right.
more like a track team. For those of you people
Right.
who've done track and field, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, they're your competition, but they're also on your team and you're training together.
Right. Right. And that goes with with everybody in your office as well. I've heard horrible stories, but I actually haven't come across any agents that have acted, rudely or anything.
Oh,
So
you
yeah.
will. Just by
Yeah.
numbers. Just by
Right.
numbers.
It is a numbers game. Yeah.
Yeah, with the amount of people you're going to meet, the amount of time you're going to do it, you're going to come across wonderful people and people who aren't
Right.
so wonderful.
Right.
But getting out there, you got to think of it. For me, one of
Mm-hmm.
two things are going to happen. You're either going to get business or you're going to get information.
Right.
And information you could use to either get business in the future or apply to your future clients. And if you go
Right.
with that mentality, you'll never lose.
No, it's true. Yes, if that's your mindset, then it's a positive mindset and you're going to get something out of it for sure.
Right. So when you go to those open houses, some of them may just feel totally empty and totally blank.
Right.
And I've been at those where I was bored out of my mind.
Yes, me too.
And then I asked the agent, and said, why aren't people going there? And I realized they did no advertising. Their only advertising was having me stick a sign out in front of the house.
Right.
And I was super
Right.
annoyed by that because basically they put no effort into it whatsoever. And I just put a sign in front of the house. But I tried to learn from that. I tried to learn, okay, what could
Right.
they have done? What didn't they do? And fine, since I'm there for 2 hours, by
Mm-hmm.
myself, bust open the computer. It's time to start sending messages out. It's your quiet workspace, especially
Right.
for those who have families.
Right.
You said you
Yeah.
have a family.
I have two daughters.
Right. So that's quiet time.
Yes.
If nobody's coming to visit, take out your computer and you got 2 to 4 hours where it's just you. And if you want to lay on the couch and stare at the roof, so be it,
If they have furniture. Yeah.
Right. If not, then, you take out your computer.
Yeah. But you're right. Every experience you learn something with every experience, so for sure. And sometimes I just think about it as, if only one or two people stop by and there was not a connection there, I just think, okay, well, yeah, I did have my signs. I did put out my stuff on social media. So maybe something will come of that. I don't know, but you know, I was out there.
Right. And then also need those open houses. You want to put on your social media that you're going to be there with your contact information.
Right. Yeah. As much as, like you said, you know, as much just getting that information out there to as many people as you can. And hopefully, you know, it'll be a better turnout, but you never know.
Right. And that's kind of what the agent's deal is, who's letting you do it. They're kind of hoping you'll bring some people there.
Right.
And so kind of the deal for them is I will let you, Kari, sit at the open house because then it's somebody manning my house. And although I'm giving up the buyer's commission by letting you do it, my hope is that we will do this deal together. It'll go smoothly and maybe you'll bring some people that I otherwise would not have had.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of the agents who are really busy and can't hold their open houses, then that's when, you know, somebody like myself will come in, and it is beneficial for them because the more that people are coming in and seeing it, the better possibility that they'll get it sold sooner. So that's
right. So they see that you're professional, you're on time, and you're actually bringing some people in that they may not have been able to bring in. You're going to get a lot more opportunities to hold open houses for more people. There'll be more business for you.
Right.
Whereas opposed to these other people who show up in their gym shorts, open the door, and just do nothing, you know.
Yeah, it's true. I've heard those stories too.
I mean, I think the word we're looking for is common sense. I mean, it's a little more pressure than people, a little more precious than people realize.
Yes, I'm learning that. It is true. It's very true.
I mean, the amount of times you see people do stuff and you're like, really? You couldn't have figured out that was a bad idea?
Right.
You couldn't have figured out that you should have, like, you know, taken off the gym shorts and the dirty t-shirt before you're gone here?
Well, maybe that's why there's so much turnaround in the real estate industry is what I'm catching on too,
right. So. Basically, with the open houses, if you do the stuff that you teach your daughters, you'll be fine.
Yes.
You know, you teach your daughters, look people in the eye, be polite, you know, be courteous, show up on time. It's amazing how far that stuff goes.
It's very simple to do. Yeah.
So all the moms out there, practice what you preach and you'll be great.
Yes, exactly.
You know, listen to what you're telling your kids. So yeah.
Yes.
So with that being said, that is hugely helpful. I'd like to follow up with you. Would you like to do another interview so we could see how that first deal is going? Because I'd love to, as you get further along with it, I would love to interview you. And whether it's good or bad, whatever happens, you know, kind of follow up and hear more about your experience, about your first deal and what kind of went through your head, the challenges that came up and things of that nature.
Yes, that's a great idea. Because yes, there were plenty of challenges, but it goes with the game. And I would love to come back.
Okay. So with that being said, you guys can find more information about Kari in the show notes below. Just click on the show notes below. I'll have links to all her social media, her website, and everything she's doing at this time. So you can follow up with her. And if you want to do business in San Diego, you can find her easily. With that being said, Joe from PrepAgent.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.